Have you ever wondered what your heart is really doing while you sleep? Imagine this. It's the middle of the night, your world is peaceful, and your dreams are alive with ambition and youth. But somewhere deep inside your chest, something quiet and invisible is unfolding a process that could one day change everything. Most of us grow up believing that heart attacks strike like a bolt of lightning, sudden and fierce, only happening to people much older than ourselves. We picture it as a dramatic event, something that gives you warning bells and obvious signs, never suspecting that our own story could begin much earlier and much more quietly. But the truth is, heart disease rarely starts with a bang. It often takes root in the silence growing beneath the surface, fed by the choices we make every single day. The reality is sobering. What seems like an ordinary day could be the very beginning of a long, hidden journey toward a life-threatening event. Each late-night snack, each skipped workout, every moment of unchecked stress adds another thread to a web that tightens slowly and visibly until one day it's too late to undo. In this video, we are going to uncover the subtle warning signs and the silent progression that could be unfolding inside you or someone you love right now, without a single symptom to sound the alarm. Most people go through life thinking heart attacks are something distant, events that happen to someone else, or maybe far off in the future, when gray hair and retirement finally arrive. But what if that belief is quietly putting you at risk? What if the greatest danger isn't just the heart attack itself, but our failure to notice the whispers and warning signs our bodies are sending long before disaster strikes? The reality is that heart disease often starts its work years, even decades, before the first chest pain or shortness of breath ever appears. It builds slowly, silently within the walls of our arteries and the rhythms of our daily habits, almost like a shadow that grows longer with every overlooked symptom and every excuse we make to postpone a doctor's visit. That is why recognizing the early subtle signals is not just important, it's life-saving. Ignoring them can mean the difference between a minor adjustment today and an irreversible tragedy tomorrow. In a world where we are constantly distracted by work, technology, and the endless rush of modern life, it is all too easy to brush off fatigue, ignore the slight shortness of breath, or dismiss the occasional flutter in your chest. But the cost of waiting until the signs become obvious is often paid with regret. Early awareness is our best defense and opportunity to act while there is still time to rewrite the story before it ends in heartbreak. In today's fast-paced world, the very habits we rely on to get through our busy lives often become the silent architects of our own vulnerability. We wake up rushing for work or school, grabbing a quick processed breakfast, glancing at notifications and telling ourselves there's always time to worry about health later. But beneath the surface, every convenient choice, skipping meals, spending hours sitting, soothing stress with screens, instead of real conversations, and trading restful sleep for late-night scrolling, quietly chips away at the foundation of our heart's strength. It's easy to believe that just because we feel young and energetic, our bodies are immune to harm, but that sense of invincibility is precisely what allows danger to slip by unnoticed. Every can of soda, every cigarette, just to take the edge off, every skipped walk in favor of another episode on our phones, all seem harmless in isolation. Yet together they accumulate, building up invisible risks day after day, year after year. By the time we notice fatigue that won't go away, a skipped heartbeat, or unexplained anxiety, the damage has often been set in motion. The truth is, modern life rewards convenience, but our hearts were not designed for shortcuts. If we don't stop and question these everyday patterns, we may only realize their impact when it's far too late to turn back. Recognizing the hidden danger in what feels normal is the first step to protecting the most vital rhythm in your life. Every day the foods we choose seem so ordinary. Just a quick breakfast sandwich from the drive-thru, a bag of chips during a busy afternoon, maybe a frozen meal at the end of a long, exhausting day. But behind these simple choices hides a complex web of consequences for our hearts. Processed foods are everywhere, tempting us with convenience and flavor. Yet beneath their colorful packaging and satisfying crunch lies a hidden danger. They are packed with unhealthy fats, refined sugars, excessive sodium, and a cocktail of preservatives that our bodies were never meant to process in such quantity. It's easy to think that one fast food meal or a sweet treat won't make a difference, especially when we feel young and full of energy. But over time, these repeated choices begin to shape our future in ways we can't see. The saturated fats and added sugars quietly raise our cholesterol, slowly lining our arteries with plaque, while excess sodium causes our blood pressure to creep up often without any symptoms at all. The calories in these foods are dense, yet the nutrition is poor, leaving our bodies starved for the vitamins and minerals they need to protect the heart and repair daily damage. As this toxic cycle continues, inflammation becomes chronic, weight increases, and the risk of diabetes and high blood pressure grows ever higher. It's not a single meal that puts our heart in jeopardy, but the silent, cumulative effect of years of processed foods and unhealthy snacks. By the time problems surface, the damage is often well underway, reminding us that every bite matters and that our everyday choices are either building a stronger heart or quietly wearing it down. We live in a time when technology has given us incredible advantages, yet it has also quietly stolen something vital from our daily lives movement. For many young people, the day begins with a commute, sitting in a car, or on public transport, continues with hours hunched over a computer at work or school, and ends on the couch, unwinding with a favorite show or scrolling endlessly on a phone. It feels normal. After all, everyone does it, and screens have become our window to the world. But what we don't see is how every hour spent inactive is subtly weakening the very muscle that keeps us alive, our heart. The heart was designed for action, for the natural rhythm of walking, standing, stretching, and simply being in motion. When we sit for long periods, blood flow slows, metabolism drops, and our body starts storing fat instead of burning it. This environment makes it easier for cholesterol to accumulate in our arteries, for blood pressure to rise, and for our heart muscle to lose strength and resilience. Over months and years, a sedentary lifestyle can transform silent risks into real threats, setting the stage for obesity, metabolic syndrome, and high blood pressure, all major contributors to heart attacks in the young. Even moderate regular movement can reverse these trends, making the difference between a future burdened by chronic disease and one filled with energy and freedom. The truth is, our screens and seats may offer comfort and convenience, but our hearts are asking for more, a chance to move, to beat stronger, and to support a life that's truly worth living. Every step, every stretch, every choice to rise and move is not just a break from routine, it's a vital investment in the health and future of your heart. Stress has become such a constant companion in modern life that many of us no longer even notice its presence. For young people especially, the pressure to succeed academically, professionally, and even socially creates an endless current of anxiety and worry that pulses just beneath the surface. We are told to push harder, to stay connected, to always be achieving, while the demands of daily life never seem to let up. Yet beneath the mask of productivity and resilience, chronic stress quietly sets off a cascade of changes within our bodies, changes that our hearts must bear in silence. Every stressful deadline, every sleepless night spent worrying, and every tense conversation triggers the release of stress hormones like cortisol and adrenaline. These chemicals are meant to help us handle emergencies, but when they are constantly present, they push our blood pressure higher, force our heart to beat faster, and slowly inflame the very arteries that carry life-giving blood. Over time, this relentless biological pressure wears down our heart's defenses, making it more susceptible to plaque buildup, dangerous rhythms, and eventually heart attacks. The tragedy is that stress can feel invisible even as it is quietly, steadily taking its toll. Recognizing the impact of chronic stress and taking steps to manage it with mindfulness, exercise, or support from others is not just a luxury. It is a necessity if we want our hearts to last a lifetime. In the rush of modern life, sleep is often the first thing we sacrifice, traded away for deadlines, late-night conversations, endless scrolling, or binge-watching our favorite shows. For young people, it may feel harmless, just a few hours lost here and there, a small price to pay for productivity or entertainment. But every night of short sleep leaves an invisible mark, disrupting the body's delicate balance and putting silent strain on the heart. When we consistently deny ourselves restful sleep, our stress hormones remain elevated. Blood pressure creeps upward, and the natural processes that repair our heart and blood vessels are interrupted. Over time, this quiet deprivation chips away at our resilience, increasing inflammation, destabilizing heart rhythms, and making our most vital organ more vulnerable to disease. What begins as a choice to stay up a little later can become a dangerous habit, slowly weakening the heart's ability to cope with daily stress and heal itself. The fatigue we feel during the day may seem manageable, but it is a warning sign that our body is out of sync. In a world that rewards hustle and celebrates sleepless nights, remembering the irreplaceable value of good sleep is one of the most powerful ways we can protect our heart, our energy, and our future. It's a scene repeated every day. A young person stressed or curious lights a cigarette or inhales the sweet vapor of an e-cigarette, believing that a quick smoke will calm their nerves or help them fit in. In our fast-moving world, smoking and vaping have become dangerously normalized, often seen as a rite of passage or a harmless way to unwind. But what goes unnoticed in these moments is the silent, powerful damage these habits inflict on the heart. Each puff releases a cascade of toxic chemicals that don't just linger in the lungs, they travel swiftly through the bloodstream, injuring the delicate lining of blood vessels, increasing inflammation, and setting the stage for cholesterol to build up into dangerous plaques. While vaping is often marketed as a safer alternative, research shows that the chemicals and inflammatory agents it delivers can be just as damaging, quietly stiffening arteries and reducing the oxygen your heart so desperately needs. Even occasional use can set in motion a cycle of harm that over months and years weakens the heart and leaves it vulnerable to rhythm problems and heart attacks. The tragedy is that most young people never feel the effects until it is too late, until a warning sign or even a crisis brings the reality crashing home. Quitting these habits is not just about breaking free from addiction. It is about reclaiming your future, giving your heart the chance to heal, and choosing life over risk, even when those risks seem invisible today. Alcohol often weaves itself into the social fabric of youth, celebration, stress relief, or just the desire to belong. A glass at a party or a few drinks to unwind can feel harmless, almost like a rite of passage. But when moderation slips into habit and habit into excess, the consequences for the heart become all too real, even if they stay hidden for years. Excessive drinking forces the heart to work harder, beating faster and less efficiently as it struggles to process the toxic burden of alcohol. Over time, this relentless strain can weaken the heart muscle itself, paving the way for conditions like high blood pressure, irregular rhythms, and dangerous surges in cholesterol and triglycerides. Each round of heavy drinking disrupts the delicate chemical balance the heart depends on, gradually creating the perfect conditions for arterial plaque to build up and block the very vessels that sustain life. The damage does not announce itself in a single night, but accumulates quietly, robbing the heart of its resilience and its ability to recover from stress. For young people who feel invincible, the risk may seem distant, but the truth is sobering. Every night of excess increases the risk that a future celebration could end in tragedy. Choosing moderation or saying no altogether is not about missing out. It's about protecting the rhythm of your life and ensuring your heart is strong enough to celebrate for many years to come. Obesity and metabolic syndrome are words that often sound distant or clinical, but their impact on the heart is both deeply personal and profoundly dangerous, especially for young people who may not realize the silent changes happening inside their own bodies. Carrying excess weight, especially around the abdomen, does more than change appearance. It sets off a cascade of metabolic disruptions that quietly inflame blood vessels, elevate blood pressure, and throw off the delicate balance of hormones that regulate energy and sugar. Over time, this chronic state of inflammation and imbalance can make the heart work harder than it was ever meant to, increasing the risk of insulin resistance and type 2 diabetes, which are themselves powerful risk factors for heart disease. Metabolic syndrome, a cluster of conditions including high blood pressure, high cholesterol, elevated blood sugar, and abdominal obesity, acts like a storm gathering strength out of sight, damaging arteries, and stiffening them so they can no longer respond to the body's needs. The tragedy is that these changes rarely cause pain or obvious symptoms until the damage is advanced, making it easy for young people to ignore the warning signs and delay meaningful action. But the power to reverse this dangerous course lies in daily choices, embracing healthier foods, becoming more physically active, and monitoring one's health before the crisis arrives. Recognizing the threat of obesity and metabolic syndrome is not about judgment, it's a call to protect the future, giving the heart every chance to beat strong for decades to come. In a world that moves at breakneck speed, it's easy to believe that youth is a shield against illness and that medical checkups can wait until we're older or life slows down. For many young people, the idea of scheduling regular health screenings feels unnecessary, even burdensome. Why worry when there are no obvious symptoms? But this sense of invincibility is one of the most dangerous illusions of all. Skipping routine checkups allows the earliest warning signs of heart trouble, high blood pressure, abnormal cholesterol, or irregular rhythms to go completely unnoticed, giving silent threats the chance to grow stronger in the dark. The tragedy is that heart disease often develops quietly for years, only revealing itself when the damage is already severe and options are limited. These appointments are not just routine chores, they are a crucial opportunity to catch problems before they escalate to take control of health while the power to change is still in your hands. Every test result, every conversation with a doctor is a chance to outsmart a threat that claims far too many lives without warning. Choosing to prioritize regular health checkups is an act of self-respect and foresight, a promise to yourself and those you love that your future matters and that every heartbeat deserves to be protected long before it is ever at risk. As we look back on the hidden risks that quietly threaten the hearts of young people, from poor diet and inactivity to chronic stress, sleepless nights, smoking, excessive drinking, and the silent march of metabolic syndrome, it becomes clear that heart attacks rarely strike out of nowhere. They are most often the result of years of invisible damage built up one choice at a time, while warning signs go unnoticed or are brushed aside. Yet within this sobering truth lies a powerful message of hope. Every single one of these risk factors is in some way within our control. The human heart is remarkably resilient, capable of healing and adapting when given the chance. Early awareness and action can reverse dangerous trends before they become a crisis. Choosing healthier foods, making time for movement, managing stress, getting enough sleep, quitting tobacco, drinking only in moderation, and never ignoring your health. These are not just medical advice. They are acts of self-care that transform the odds in your favor. The path to prevention does not require perfection, but it does demand attention and commitment. By facing these risks honestly and making even small changes today, you give your heart a fighting chance, not just to survive, but to thrive for years to come. Prevention is possible, and the power to protect your future truly lies in your hands. The most important lesson from understanding these silent risks to heart health is that prevention is both possible and powerful. Heart attacks are not just a problem for the elderly. They can happen to anyone, especially if we let daily habits go unchecked. The real message is this: you don't need to be perfect, but you do need to pay attention. Small, consistent choices, choosing real whole foods over processed snacks, making time for daily movement, finding healthy ways to manage stress, and prioritizing a good night's sleep can make a profound difference in your heart's future. Quitting smoking or vaping, limiting alcohol, and scheduling regular health checkups are not just chores, but acts of self-respect and love for those who care about you. In a culture that often glorifies hustle and busyness, taking care of your heart is a quiet rebellion, choosing to value your long-term well-being over temporary convenience. Remember, your heart does not send a calendar invite before trouble arrives. By listening to your body, responding to subtle warning signs, and taking action early, you give yourself the best chance at a long, vibrant life. Your future is not written in stone. Each heartbeat is a chance to choose health, and that choice is always within your reach.